So here's the deal. I said I was going to make a video on the dip switches on the Onward pedal, but guess what? I decided I don't really want to do that. I have time for one more Onward video before I feel like I can't talk about this pedal anymore. I don't think a dip switch video is necessarily going to be that interesting and maybe, quite frankly, kind of boring. Honestly, the ramping thing has been covered quite well by Chase Bliss. The manual covers the rest of the features of that, so I don't feel like I'm really adding anything to the world by covering that. What's more important is why even get this pedal at all? And I showed how it works, I showed what it does, but what does that really mean to you, right? So after the first video, I had some people messaging me and they were telling me they didn't love the idea of the pedal. They mentioned that it cost 400 bucks, so it's really expensive and it's not particularly musical, particularly useful. You know, different people had different opinions on it, right? And I think we have to talk about that because some of those points are very valid depending on who you are and how you play guitar. So one reason I make these videos is because I love guitar and I love guitar pedals. It's just my thing. And I remember as I was a growing wee lad, I made a lot of very terrible mistakes when I was developing. And I wish I'd made different choices because I feel like some of those choices I made me lose some time, and I kind of regret that. So one thing I want to do with these videos is try to help other people avoid some of the mistakes I made. So I wanted to talk to you about how I've ended up using this pedal after having it for a while. When I first got this, I was wondering if it was going to replace another pedal on my board, and I don't think it does right now. I don't feel like it replaces a delay pedal. It does not replace the Super Ego, which I kind of was thinking it might. One way I use this pedal, and I think it's useful, is you can freeze one channel and then play live over the other. So it's almost like a little bit of a multi-effects thing. So for example, we'll dial in like a cool sounding frozen drone, and then you can play something glitchy on top. So let me set that up and show you how I would do that. So first of all, so I do have this pedal set up with a latching mode, which means that you can hold down the button and it'll grab it. So it latches and holds. And that's something you can set with the dip switch. So again, the dip switch video I said I was gonna do, there you go, there's the dip switch video. Okay, so let's quickly freeze something, maybe like in B minor. Or we could go not so extreme and crazy and layered. So for example, a lead part, you could just try to get a cool texture. personally, I think this pedal actually shines in the way that is my favorite way to use it, which is I use it kind of like a warping pedal, you know, similar to the Strymon or the Bachling, something like that. So let's say I have a loop going and I might want to slowly warp it over time. That's what I think this pedal is good for as far as I'm concerned, like more of a sound design type approach to it. So let me show you what, for example, what I might do. I'm gonna set this pedal up to be very, you know, I always say vanilla for it, but honestly, this pedal doesn't really do vanilla. So we'll just kind of go here. Okay, I think that's basic. Let's kick in a loop, okay? Is the Onward worth $400? Well, it depends on who you are. So I would watch a lot of videos to make that decision. I would listen to a lot of sounds. And if you're lucky, you'll have a place nearby that you can go play one. So once again, I don't normally just I don't have this like on my practice board. I mostly use this pedal with my big pedal board where I make a bunch of layers. This thing is a layer maker. And again, it reminds me of the Backlings. It reminds me of, you know, just one of those pedals that you run stuff through it and it destroys your sound or turns into something else or makes a cool vibe and a cool layer to it. So it's a great pedal for that, but understand that's what it does, in my opinion. You may have a different opinion. You may think that the pedal is totally different than that, and that's totally cool. This is the thing. A lot of these opinions on YouTube and online are very subjective because we all play differently. Now, I do want to say, if I wasn't happy with my guitar or my amp or other fundamental foundational pieces of gear, I would definitely put my money towards those things over any experimental pedal. You know, like I consider this an experimental pedal. Unless, what if an experimental sound warping pedal is foundational to how you want to play music? Because I feel like in the past, I got so excited about effects that I would ignore the fact I had a shit guitar, or or I'd ignore the fact I had a terrible amplifier, and I would just get excited because I wanted, ooh, that reverb in that rack sounded good on that song. I want that. And, you know, I ended up having like a very terrible guitar sound with a really good reverb on it, which means a terrible guitar sound. Okay, that's enough. That's enough videos on the Onward. I've squeezed every bit of content I can out of this pedal. I have to move on to something else, but I do really, really love it, actually. Anyway, please hit the like button. Let me know what you think in the comments. I am releasing music very soon on Bandcamp. I'll be talking about that soon. Thank you very much, and thanks for watching.